Hi there. Today I have something very important to share with you, especially if you have experienced narcissistic abuse as a child. You have to know what happened to you in your childhood, how all of that abuse and neglect and abandonment shows up in your life as an adult. Okay, so what you're seeing behind me is number one, what happened to you as a child. Number two, how it plays out in adulthood and why and how you can practice self love and how self love can heal you from narcissistic abuse. And this is why I wrote my book, Wired for Self Love. I am going to conduct a program based on these strategies, but I'm going to share with you also a little bit more detail about how it works. First, you need to understand what happened to you as a child. Did your parent invalidate you? Did you experience emotional abandonment and emotional neglect? Okay. Was there physical abuse? Was there gaslighting? Boundary violations? Lack of identity. You don't have a sense of power or sense of self and no agency. You were criticized very badly. You were said you're no good, you're not going to make anything of yourself. So all of those things repeatedly happen in many different ways across your ages, from childhood all the way into you're this young adult, and you feel absolutely clueless. Why does that happen? What you did not get as a child was unconditional love. You did not get that. You did not receive any empathy. There is no way for you to emotionally regulate yourself because you did not experience that with a safe adult who could help you process your emotions by hugging you and talking to you and sharing with you and just being there for you. That did not happen. So obviously, you lack those skills yourself. And there was no kindness and self compassion and no compassion shown to you. So you don't know what it means to be kind to yourself. Because you were not experiencing unconditional love, you don't know how to love yourself. That's the reason why my book is titled Wired for Self Love. It's the wiring that gets affected so badly. You're just programmed by your narcissistic parent, and that's what happened to you as a child. Now, let's move on to adulthood. How it plays out in your adulthood, and particularly, this is very obvious when it comes to relationships, right? People pleasing. Are you a people pleaser? Um, there's poor boundaries in work and in relationships. Do you just give yourself and make yourself like a um, mat for everybody to walk all over you and feel angry or upset when you don't get the credit for it, and you don't have boundaries, meaning you're staying and giving more of your time, and there is no work life balance because you want to be loved, you want to be appreciated. There's a part of you that wants to be approved, and you seek that approval outside of yourself constantly. Do you have addictive behaviors or have actual addictions to substances, alcohol, smoking? You know, um, do you have poor relationships, poor friendships, poor sleep? Um, do you criticize yourself harshly? Are you very hard on yourself? Are you bitter? Do you experience bitterness often in your life? You are just absolutely, fed up of things, and you're bitter and angry, and you feel pain in your body, in some part of your body. It can be your back, can be your head, can be in your stomach. Can these things can show up as invisible illnesses, and maybe you might go and sit in the doctor's office, and the doctor, even through going through your reports, they cannot put a finger on and give you a diagnosis for what is wrong with you, why you're experiencing what you're experiencing. So a lot of times trauma is not looked at. Nobody asks what happened to you as a child. If you look at Gabor Mate's work, this is what he talks about often, and he helps with trauma as well. So I'm going to talk about how it shows up in your life, and these are all because of the childhood trauma you experienced. And when you feel that way, you feel stuck in your life, you feel unsafe to be yourself, you cannot be yourself, you feel unlovable, feel like you do not deserve love. And this may play out as in you are um, you make yourself do things that will make other people not like you, and then that will be how you will prove to yourself that, oh, you are unlovable. But it's a programming that has been playing out since childhood. Okay, it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you don't address all of these and understand what is happening to you, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And that's how you continue to live your life. And it's like, oh, this is my fate, and I cannot do anything to change my life or make it better. I'm here to say, no, you can, and I will teach you how to do that as well. So you feel low confidence and constant self doubt in making decisions. You are not sure about yourself. You don't know. You question yourself because your intuition, your being, your entire being was hampered with, and you not able to judge yourself. You doubt when you are judging. You don't trust yourself, obviously, because you do not have any relationship with yourself, and there was no self-regulation. There was nowhere for you to be feel safe, and so there was nothing in your interaction with your parent or parents that made your relationships in your childhood trustworthy. Okay, so then because of what you experience, you don't know how to trust yourself. um, and so you feel unlovable, you doubt yourself a lot, and then you always feel like something is wrong with me, this needs to be fixed, that needs to be fixed, I need to change and adapt to myself and please people so that I will be loved. Okay, and something is wrong with me means I need to be fixed. Okay, and that's not the case also, but this is how it plays out in your adulthood. You are subjecting yourself to ridiculously high standards, something the narcissist set for you, and probably they did that to themselves, or someone did that to them when they were a child, and they have some ridiculous expectations of themselves, and which it's just they have passed that on to you. It's like a genes that you pass on. That's how generational trauma is being passed down to you, and you subject yourself to ridiculously high standards, and you don't know how to be kind to yourself. You also ruminate a lot. You keep thinking the same thoughts over and over and over, and you feel guilty for being however you and feeling whatever it is that you are feeling. Maybe you really, really, really don't like your parent, but you cannot say that. Saying that, even admitting that to yourself, there is a sense of shame and guilt about that, as if something is wrong if you're not able to love your parent, because parents are put on a pedestal and they're supposed to be this loving, kind person. You have to start looking at your parent as if they are not, they're just biologically they brought you to, or they're your biological parents, but just giving birth does not mean that they're a parent. If they cannot do any of this, taking care of you, then you have to start looking at your parent as if something is wrong with them and not you. It's not you, it's never you. Okay, so ruminating, numbness. You're not able to feel yourself, feel your emotions because you numbed yourself, and anything and everything that you wanted was not important. Nothing was more important than the narcissist and pleasing the narcissist so that they would approve you and love you and accept you. And that did not happen for you. So you feel numb because you have suppressed yourself. I can share something with you wherein I was trying to use tapping to just it's an emotional freedom technique, tapping. That's when I was trying it out for the first time, and all I felt at the beginning was numbness. So it's hard to feel those emotions. So now I will also say that EFT did not necessarily work for me as well as meditation did, which is why I talk about meditation in my book. All right. And then you feel numbness, you feel lost. You don't know what to do, where to go, who to talk to, how to communicate your needs because you live in a state of constant fear. Um, So you experience periods of depression, you don't know how to express yourself, you just feel lost and don't know what to do, and just that's your state of being for a very very long time. And you've probably been like that for such a long time that you don't even have any awareness of it, and you can't even put a finger on it. So this was something that I experienced myself, and it took a while for that to completely go away. And thanks to meditation and all of the mindfulness techniques that I employed over the years that I have been practicing, self love, kindness, and compassion, that I have been able to change and rewire myself for self love. So now, what happened to you as a child and how it plays out in your adulthood, then how can self love heal you from narcissistic abuse? Right? So, through meditation, what you will understand is how to regulate yourself. This is why I talk deeply about meditation. It really helped me to become present to myself in my body to the feelings and emotions and the sensations, everything that's happening inside my body, and what those sensations were telling me about myself, right? All of those became insights for me and aha moments, like, oh, I was told this, I am feeling fear, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling neglected, I'm feeling rejected, all of those things. Now this person was not there for me, but you know what, experiencing that and being there for that inner child, and as an adult saying, I can do this. We can do this. I am with you. I see you. I hear you. I love you. You are lovable. You are accepted by me. I am here for you. So, you know what you're starting to do is reparent yourself. Okay. So that's what I was doing when I was meditating. I was telling myself the things that I never heard, never got seen, never felt validated. I was giving that to myself. And so through that, I understood, number one, what happened to me as a child and how it played out in my adulthood. Okay, so these are the two things that become clear to you. There are many other things, but then what you also understand you need to is that you would need to reinforce boundaries. Maybe you have to stop communicating with your parent until and unless they change their behavior. But for a narcissist, it's very, very difficult. They cannot change themselves for anyone or anything. Others do not matter. Relationships do not matter. Nothing matters more to them than their ego, whatever is important to them. It's very selfish of them, and that's who they are, how they are. Very rarely does a narcissist turn themselves around. Okay, so you need to reinforce boundaries and say no means no. All right, and no is a complete sentence. So this is where you have poor boundaries. You find it hard to say no to people. So then you start to reinforce boundaries, and of course you're going to experience pushback from people who do not like it. The ones who understand you naturally will be kinder to you, and that just makes things clear for you, as in, okay, these people understand me, and these are the type of people who are not going to understand me. I want more of these kind of people in my life. And then you start to have more and better relationships. And then you find out so much more about yourself. When I was growing up, I did not have an identity. Nobody told me you are an individual, your individuality, I value your ideas, thoughts. That none of that existed. And you, of course, as a child, you're so closely identified with your parent. It's attached to your, it's a mother and daughter, mother and son, father daughter, those kind of things. But then as we grow up, you need to be told that, look, yes, this is great, but I appreciate who you are becoming. You're not just my child, you are an adult, you're going to be an adult, and your thoughts are important, your idea is important, what you have to say is important, and you can do that. So being able to empower myself, I was able to empower my child. And so I found out that my identity was associated. I was like, okay, I was a daughter, and then I became a wife and a mother, but then who am I? I don't know anything about myself, and everything I was told about myself was absolute lies. I believed in those lies, and I didn't know who I was. Of course, then I do not, of course, then I have low self confidence. And I constantly doubt myself because I don't know myself. When you know yourself, you have this inner knowing through doing all of this work, and especially meditation. You get to know so much about yourself that you develop confidence. Now you take that confidence to the next level. How do you do that? Okay, you face your fears. Facing your fears. Okay, there's different ways you can go about this. You choose how you want to do this. But one of the things that really helped me is to jump into public speaking, learning public speaking, because public speaking, glossophobia, is the number one fear people have, second only to death. Okay, so think about this. If you dive into public speaking, when you're standing in front of people and talking about yourself, sharing about yourself, whatever it is, what you're looking for is approval of your audience. But it's all up in your head. And not only that, how you are people pleasing, and how your energy, how you're feeling anxious, all of that plays out on the stage. How you stand, are you standing in your power? Are you claiming and owning the stage, and owning of all of who you are? All of those things, they start to reveal themselves to you when you are embodying all of that through public speaking and storytelling. So this is something that I highly recommend that you do. I have an entire program. I have just the storytelling, ultimate storytelling um, program for you, and I also have the ultimate speaker program for you if you're interested. So both of these things radically increased my self confidence. I became confident in sharing my story, and the shame about going through all of this and not loving my parent or my mother, all of that went away. And I realized, no, this person did something very, very wrong, and so they do not deserve a place in my life. I have reparented myself, and I need whatever it is that I need to feel like a healthy, functional human, and be able to do good in the world and continue to serve my own world, people in my world, and others. Okay, be able to do things that are important to me, for me, and help other people. So that's what I do now with my work. What meditation also brings for you is a lot of self-awareness. Of course, embodying and practicing public speaking makes you very self-aware. But then this as you keep meditating, that awareness about yourself keeps on increasing. All of these things make your vision about yourself really clouded, and then so as you have ahas and insights, what happens is you start to become more self-aware, and you observe how you are behaving, how you're conducting yourself in your relationships or in your workplace, and how you are being with other people, and then noticing in your body language and understanding and applying no, saying no, and not explaining yourself. All right, stopping the experience. So these things happen very, very gradually. They happen slowly. They are multi-layered, and you catch yourself through meditation. You catch yourself thinking the same thoughts and saying, "Hey, is this me or is this somebody else? Who is that somebody else? Is that my narcissistic parent?" So you hear all of those things, and all of those things you're also able to understand inside your body. Your body remembers. There's a book called The Body Keeps Score. That's what we're talking about over here. Your body is going to tell you anything and everything. Pain is all the emotional memory. It just it's there, and it's you're going to feel all of that. And as over the years that I have done the work that I have done on myself, I experience less and less and less and less pain in my body. I am in a much healthier place mentally, physically, emotionally, and I'm very much aligned spiritually. That's how I feel. So this connection with the spirit becomes stronger, and you start to build so much faith within yourself. And so, through all of these bits and pieces, you're gathering bits and pieces of yourself. And so, what happens is you start to integrate parts of you. Now, you were told you're bad. No, nobody is perfect. Of course, we all know that nobody is perfect, right? But you don't say, "I'm only going to accept what is good about me and completely reject the parts that are not okay about me," just putting it in a box and just shutting it out, and we're not going to deal with that. I don't like this about myself. How about you just be aware of it and embrace it? Understand why you were behaving the way you were behaving, even if it was wrong, and where that was coming from. What then starts to happen is that part of you that was invalidated. So you continue the invalidation, uh, invalidating yourself. Now, what that part happens, it feels validated and it feels integrated within you. So, from a broken person, you become this integrated person, and that's what integrating the shadow does. It makes you become whole again, and bit by bit, as you discover layers of yourself and parts of yourself, you just integrate and be kind. So instead of pushing that away, you show that part love, kindness, compassion. Just like when a child makes a mistake, the parent, either they shout at them or they explain to them and they say, "That's okay, everybody makes mistakes, adults make mistakes all the time." So then the child is not going to feel very bad about themselves, right? So that they're going to feel accepted, they're going to feel loved. That's, and you have to treat yourself like that, and give love to that inner child. Be there for that inner child for as long as it needs you. Be there and help that child regulate itself emotionally. And so, what doing all of this does for you is definitely it increases your confidence in yourself. You believe in yourself, and then your overall health, also your overall well being improves. So, this is why I say it is very important, especially if you have gone through narcissistic abuse as a child. Self love is the antidote to narcissistic abuse. Thank you for tuning in. If you think this video has helped you, share this with others, leave a comment, talk to me about what you experienced in your childhood, and subscribe to this channel and stay tuned for more of videos on self-love. Bye for now.